This is Aubrey Martin from Martin Family Real Estate Group at Keller Williams. And today I am joined by Magik Relocation and my friend Charity, who's going to be chatting with us a little bit about her services and the different things that she does. I actually find the moving industry to be really fascinating in that there's just a lot of sort of false information out there. When I first met with Charity several months ago, I learned so much, and I have referred her to literally all of my buying and selling clients ever since then. So Charity, thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining us tonight.
it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is such an interesting conversation. I don't know if you kind of visit those social media groups, and people are always asking, who do you use for movers? And I think again, a lot of people they want to know about the cheapest mover or and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So the first thing I sort of want you to address, sort of right out of the gate, is
Yeah.
you are based in Vancouver, but you work a lot in Oregon. So, and
Mhm.
as my clients are mostly in Oregon, can you tell me a little bit about what the Oregon regulations are for movers?
Yeah, definitely. So in Oregon, the regulations for movers are all set by a tariff, and that has to be approved. And as certified movers, we have to abide by that tariff. And that sets the prices for hourly rates for the materials that we use on the job. And it also sets a standard for hourly minimums. So there's a 2 hour minimum Monday through Friday, and then a 5 hour minimum on Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays for certified movers. And I think that's one thing. That's probably misconception number one is people think, well, I just need you for like an hour. Can you just come for like an hour and just handle that? I'm like, well, there's some kind of minimum standards that we have to maintain. And then the second one is that hourly rate is also a part of that tariff. And so it's based on the number of people, the number of, it's, a huge job and we've got, say, 5 guys and 2 trucks or something like that. Or if it's just 2 guys in a truck, 3 guys, that kind of thing. But the rate is literally to the penny. So it's down to, it's $203.05 to send 3 guys and 1 truck out to your job. But then also the same thing with all those packing materials. And to be frank, the state does that really to protect consumers so that way you're not getting a mover that says, oh, let me give you a good deal on that. And then they come out and jack the price up, and so they're kind of holding your things hostage and saying, oh, well, your job was more than what we thought. And this is really the price. And so if the price is the same across the board, then you just are being protected. It's really just kind of who you choose to do business with, which companies you trust, maybe if you're getting those trusted referrals from, who are the people that you want to interact with. And so you get to kind of pick as a consumer and know that the playing field has been leveled when it comes to price. But the other great thing is it protects me as a small business because I'm not a big moving company. I'm a small company. And so there are a lot of big national companies that are right here in town that compete with us, and they could do a much higher volume than I do, but it keeps me in that competitive market where I'm able to say, hey, I can charge the same rate that those guys charge. And it's kind of just levels the playing field for everybody. So it's better for consumers and it's also better for business owners.
And so, what do you think kind of sets you apart? So, talk to me a little bit about your business and how you got involved, but what is it that sets you apart from the larger kind of national companies?
Yeah. Well, I think the first time we met, I actually told you it's kind of become my catchphrase now, as I always say, I don't want to be the Bud Light of movers. I want to be the cool microbrew. And so I think of that as like anybody can call up one of these big companies and they've got lots of people and lots of trucks and big offices, and they're going to send out, the same crew of people to do things, but they're just looking at it from a little bit different standpoint. They're looking at it from a how many jobs can we get done in a day? How many dollars can we make in a month? That's kind of their driving force. Where when you're looking with us, you're getting that kind of craft brewery feel. You're getting that we've got 2 crews of people that are going to come out and do that job. And each of those crews is going to have one job that they do that day. So they're not going to be rushing to get to another job. They're not going to show up in the afternoon exhausted from having been at a job earlier in the day. They're really going to be focused on you, and it's going to be much more customer service driven. The crews are happier, everybody's having a good day, and it's just a different focus. So that's kind of the nice thing about working with a smaller company is you get a lot more customer service driven. Because for me, if I get a bad review or somebody's not happy, that can be devastating. But with these big companies, if they get a bad review, the phone's going to keep ringing. So it's not a big deal to them. And they kind of feel like, meh, that one will slide. And, you know, the phone's going to ring 20 more times tomorrow. So it's not a big deal. But for me, it's really something that we take to heart. And I've had this conversation with my crews and I said, when you look at our business license, my literal name is on that license and that means something. And so my name is on it. We got to show up for people and we've got to make sure that we're doing things the right way. And so that's for me, I think what sets us apart is that we're just going to do it with a lot smaller focus and a much more customer service driven focus than a let's just race through the day and make another dollar focus.
Well, and you are truly a family business, which is something
Yeah,
I would like to point out, not just a
yeah,
small business, but a family business. So
yep,
tell me a little bit about how that's structured and your crew. I've had
yeah,
the pleasure of meeting some of your crew on some of the moves for my
yeah.
clients, and just a really great bunch of guys.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. So, kind of how we started is my husband worked for a large national moving company in the past and had done that for a few years and just was at a point where he needed to make a change in his career. And I just kind of thought, I think we could do this. And I think that we could do this kind of in our own way. And so, it's something that we just kind of did. There's a lot to get involved. This is something again that the state takes very seriously. That we have to be certified. We have to have proper insurance. We have to have we're background checked. As the owner of the business, I'm background checked. All of my crews are as well. That's a requirement of the state that those people have to have those checks done. So it's a process to go through that. But it was something that we just decided, what, this is what we want to do. And so, like right now, I'm sitting in my living room, but most days I'm working from my home office and my kids are here with me and my husband might be sitting at his computer. And so it's kind of fun to have that family feel. And then the guys that work with us too, they're all experienced movers. They've been working in the industry for several years. But it's nice again because I have a small crew. I get to know them personally, and I get to know a little bit about their lives, and I get to kind of interact with them, and we can have fun and hang out at the warehouse together, and kind of talk about what's their actual life, and that feels good to feel like we just have that more of a family connection with them.
And so you just mentioned something about insurance, which is, of course, the insurance that you need to have on your
Yeah.
business. Can
Hmm.
we talk a little bit about insurance for people's items and that
Yeah.
protection, and sort of what does that look like?
Yeah, yeah. So there are options you can, through like a homeowner's policy or a renter's policy, something like that. You can even go online and just purchase like a moving insurance policy if that's something that you want, like vacation insurance. Think of it as something like that. It would just be to cover your move. So what movers offer is we don't use the word insurance, we use the word valuation. And what we do is we say the industry standard is that when we move your things, we hope nothing happens. We hope that there's not any damage and that nothing gets broken or no holes, anything like that. But sometimes we're human, sometimes things happen. And so the industry standard is that we pay for damaged items at 60 cents per pound. How that number came about, I couldn't tell you long before I came around, but that's just what it is. And that's for all moving companies pretty much across the country. So if you have a broom and the handle breaks and it's 60 cents a pound, that broom's probably a couple of pounds, pay a couple of bucks. It's not that exciting, but it's not that it's a broom. It's not that big of a deal. But if you have something that's like a really precious vase or a really exquisite lamp with a really pretty, like a stained glass shade on it, something that's really high in value, but it's not very heavy and it gets damaged, 60 cents a pound doesn't cover much. So when you think about that, when you say, I do have these things that are really precious, these things that I really want to take care of, what we offer is what we call valuation. And so what you do is say to us, I'm kind of estimating that the total value of my items is, we'll say $10,000. That's the contents of my home be $10,000. So what we do is we sell you a valuation and it's based on the price. You say, okay, well, it's $10,000 what we think it's going to be. So there's a price per $100 that we charge. And it's pretty nominal. It's like 80 cents per $100 is the standard in Oregon. And so you have the option to pay for that. Now you're not required in any way to pay for that. Frankly, most people probably don't. They just select, no, I'm just going to go with the industry standard. We're just going to assume nothing's going to happen. But if you do have those precious things that you really want to take extra care of, then it's a good idea to purchase that valuation. And then that just gives you that extra level of kind of coverage, essentially. So then what happens is, let's say that really precious lamp gets broken. Let's say the shade breaks on it. Then you get either the replacement of that item or you get the replacement cost of that item. So much like your auto insurance would be, if we don't buy you a brand new lamp, we buy you one that's the comparable lamp to what you had. Just like if your car gets wrecked, you don't get a brand new car, you get the comparable thing. But it's nice because now you're not getting that 60 cents a pound, which is kind of, in my opinion, not much. So it's a good option for consumers to protect themselves. It's really a pretty nominal fee when you look at it, when you look at, what you're actually protecting. And so it's a good option. And when the crew comes out to your house, when they first start the job, they're going to go over some paperwork with you. And that's one of the things that they'll cover when they first get there and explain that as well. But that's another, just an added level of protection to make sure that those things are taken care of throughout the process of your move.
And then what about if they do happen to, say, like, damage a wall or something in the house, because that
Yeah,
can happen absolutely when you're
it
like
can. Yeah.
moving stuff around, things get dinged, whatever it is. What does that look like?
Definitely. So that's more something that would be on me. So that was the business owner. And so again, we have insurance to cover, we have general liability insurance to cover that kind of stuff. So what we would do is if it's something that, if it's something we can repair, then we'll, send somebody out and repair it. If we need to hire a professional to do it, say we need a sheetrock guy or something to come out and do it, then that's on me. And so I would take care of that with the customer one-on-one. So if it's damage to your personal belongings, that would be covered through that valuation. But if it's damage to your home, then that's something that my business insurance would cover. So, yep.
So I was wondering if you can tell me a little bit about the services that you have, because I think when people think movers, they think moving households,
Yeah.
interstate, local, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So tell me about number one, like your areas of service, but then also aside from moving households, what are some of the other things that you provide clients?
Yeah. So we do move your household. We do also what we call kind of pack and load or unload jobs where let's say maybe you've had your things put on a trailer and they've been shipped across country or even maybe just from Seattle to Portland, something like that. And you now have this giant trailer sitting in front of your house and no way to get it unloaded. So that's something that we'll come and do is we can unload pods or they're called relo cubes. There's lots of storage companies that will deliver those types of things to you or deliver these big semi trailers, and so we'll help either load those things if you're moving out of town or unload them once you've moved into town. So that's a pretty common thing that we do a lot. We've even loaded a few U-Hauls for people that have said, hey, I'm just going to drive my stuff. I don't really need you to transport it. I've rented the U-Haul, but you guys are the pros at that kind of Tetris game. So will you come and help load the truck way up to the ceiling and take advantage of every inch of space? And so we say, sure. So we'll go and do that. We'll help get your things loaded up into your vehicle. So that's an option as well. Another thing that we do actually is that we work with people. Actually, we've worked with one of your clients doing this is getting her home staged and getting it ready for that listing, getting it ready for those really great pictures that are coming to be on the listing. So maybe you've got some great furniture pieces, but they just need to be moved around. So we can send a couple of guys out. They can clear the things out, maybe stick them in the garage that you don't want to have in those pictures, and then adjust the furniture in the way that it really makes those rooms shine and kind of takes the best view of what that room's going to look like. But we can kind of do the heavy lifting for that and move some things around. And another service that we provide, and we have a client coming up this next week, is that maybe you've got some damage in your home. You need to have some flooring replaced. Maybe you've got a remodel coming up and you're going to have like a whole section of your house is going to be kind of torn apart. We're happy to come in and move the things out of that part of your house. So if you're going to have all your wood floors replaced, you need to have everything off those floors. So we can either take them and move them to a temporary location. If you have space in your home, maybe in your garage or in another part of the house that's not being remodeled, we can just leave them right there in your home. But that's definitely an option of something that we can do as well. So it's not just moving the things that are there. It can be packing, it can be transporting, it can be loading and unloading those pod type containers, or it can be just moving stuff around inside your house. Maybe you've just got something that's really heavy. Maybe it's kind of a really precious antique piece and you're just kind of nervous about moving it. We've got the equipment, we've got the bodies, we've got the knowledge to know how to do it properly.
Well, and you also provide the service, yes, to move things into storage. Like we had a client, you and I together,
Yeah.
who they are buying another place, but they're it's going to be a couple of months in between
Yeah,
places. And so her stuff is with you right now. It's
it
storage,
is. Yeah.
probably will be for a little while. So you can
Yeah,
also bring items in between moves to storage, and you have a
correct.
connection there as well.
Exactly. Especially in this market, because it's like, if your house sells right away, it might be a little bit before you get into another place. So even if you're moving into, say, a rental property, maybe you don't want to take everything to that rental. You're like, you know what, maybe that seasonal stuff I don't need to take. Let's just stick it in storage. That's an option too. So we're always happy to work with people on that as
And
well.
then what is your service area? I know you're based in Vancouver, but
Mhm.
what is your service area? And
Yeah.
do you do, interstate? What do you do for your
Mhm.
moving?
So we can do interstate. We can do Portland to Vancouver and back and forth either way that way. We're certified to work anywhere in Washington state. So our license in Washington allows us to work anywhere in Washington state. But in Oregon, they ask us to kind of pick and choose the places that we're going to work. And so pretty much it's that kind of Portland metro. There's like 5 or 6 counties, kind of, Washington, Multnomah, Clackamas, Columbia County, Marion County, all those kind of places. So kind of that just this extended Portland metro area is really where we work right now. So that's where we're certified to work within the state of Oregon. But if you need to move to, say, Medford from Portland, we can connect you with other companies that could help you do that. So that's an option as well.
And so talk to me about the things that you refer out for like specialty items, because I
Yeah,
know we've talked about this before. There are just some items that really shouldn't go with general movers, and really
yeah,
should go with specialty folks. So can you talk to me about some of those kind of
exactly.
items?
Yeah. The first one I would say is hot tubs because that's one that we just don't move. They're just big. Oftentimes you even need a crane to lift a hot tub. Like they're heavy. Sometimes they're awkward if they're kind of tucked away in a little gazebo or someplace in your backyard. So that's just not something that our specialty is. Another thing is pool tables. That's something I really suggest is talk to a billiard company. If you own a pool table, you probably bought that pool table and you probably know who you bought it from and they probably delivered it to you. So pool tables are one of those things that they've got a slate top that's in pieces generally. So when you go to pick it up, it's not like, for one, they're so heavy you couldn't just pick it up and turn it, but you run the risk of that slate getting damaged inside. So really the proper way to do it is you have to remove the felt from the top, take those slate pieces out, get them wrapped, and then move kind of the shell of the pool table at that point, and then put it all back together. But you'd need someone from a billiard company to actually come and put that felt top back on properly. It's not something that we would do. So we leave that to the pros. We let them handle that. Pianos are another thing. If you have an upright piano, that's something we could move. But honestly, even that, we really prefer that a piano company does that. So again, if you own a piano, you probably bought the piano. And so they're going to be the pros. They're going to know how to just make sure that it's sitting level exactly where it needs to be. They're going to get it tuned and take care of it for you. It's a service that we can do. But again, I just feel like it's not the thing we do every day. So have the people that do it every day be the ones that come and help you with that. So yeah.
So, and is there anything else that you feel like you kind of want to share just about how you sort of got how you got involved with this, why you decided to switch gears, right? Because you were not always in moving. I know your
No.
husband had that
Yeah.
background. So, was it really kind of just to connect more with family, or just to what sort of prompted that move for you, so to speak?
Yeah. Yeah. No pun intended, right? Yeah. So, um, I think it was just to do a family-owned business, and I think, honestly, my husband grew up with entrepreneurs for parents, and his father owned an auto repair business for many years. His mother was an art teacher and taught classes out of their home. And at first, I was a little bit like, I don't know, like that feels kind of scary, self-employment, right? And I was a little bit nervous. And then I was kind of inspired because I got to thinking about it. My mom's parents, both of my grandparents, were also self-employed. And my grandmother actually she owned an ice cream shop in North Portland for many years back in the like 70s. And so I was like, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it too. And so that kind of inspired me a bit to think about that. I thought, you know what, I can do this. And I've got two daughters. And so it's just nice to be able to kind of have that legacy of like, you know what, we can do this. We can be entrepreneurs and we can run a business that we're proud of, that our kids can be a part of. And I love it when my girls come down to the warehouse. Maybe we picked up some materials that day and they help offload boxes off the back of the van that we've got. And they take pride in that and they take pride in seeing us working together. And so, even my teenage daughter, she was like, maybe I could come down and work this summer in the office. And I was like, yes, you can. So
Well, I'm a huge
yeah,
advocate of family business. We have a
yeah,
family business too, where our children help with showings and our welcome home books and our
yeah,
client gifts and all of that. And I do think that it's really, just beneficial to have them see what it means to work and just have a stake in things,
yeah,
and kind of teach them good ethics and all that good stuff.
exactly.
So,
Yeah,
from the moment that we met, I sort of switched gears, because I really found a good kind of trustworthy moving partner in you. I've literally referred you to every single one of my buyers and my sellers. So, I definitely appreciate your service. I appreciate your time. It's always
yeah.
a pleasure, Charity. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you and thank you so much for all those referrals. And it's been a pleasure to work with you and your clients. You've all just been so wonderful. And yeah, it's been great. So
I appreciate it.
yeah,
Magik Relocation, and their number is here on the video. Thank you so much for
yeah.
watching, and we'll see you for the next educational series through Martin Family Real Estate Group. Thank you so much.
Bye.